Hey guys, what's up? Thus Bacon Beard here, back once again for a review actually this time. That's actually something that's kind of unorthodox for my channel, as obviously that's not something you see me doing very much, but I figured for an EP as good as this, it really deserves it. This is my friend Julian, the Metal Throne, with his project We Are Stardust with his new EP, A Dance for the King. Let's get into it. Before I get into the track by track of this EP, I figured I'd give this a real quick synopsis so you guys would get a general idea of what I really appreciate about this release. First off is the intent. Surprisingly, intent is something that is getting surprisingly sparse in the music scene today. One of the ways that he really creates intent with this EP is timbre as well as dynamics. By timbre, I mean the guitar effects that he uses, from the chirpy keyboards of Private Windy Plains to the very 70s noir kind of film soundtrack that's present in the guitars in the beginning of Squid Marks on a Broken Fool Volume 1. Another thing that I really appreciate about this release in general is the very vivid impressionism that is present throughout every single song on this EP, from The Shepherd's Walk to the drastically different Private Windy Plains to A Stroll to Nowhere. Every single song on here is incredibly vivid, and the way he presents these songs, not just with the title, anyone could throw a theme onto a song, but he does it in the most interesting ways, from the guitar tone, the effects present, the instrumentation. Lots of bands these days, they just figure, let me throw in a bass, guitar, drums, vocals, because those are the orthodox things that I need to create this type of music. But he finds a kind of meaning for every single instrument he uses. Bass is surprisingly not as present as other releases. Every single time he uses it, it's with great intent. Once again, I'm going to use that word a lot in this review. One of my favorite examples of the bass on the entire EP is on the second track, Squid Marks on a Broken Fool Volume 1. Obviously, as you can probably tell from the title, it's an aquatic theme, and the upright bass just creates this very pulsing, riding beat to kind of create the flow of the water, which is very interesting. And the jazzy section, which just is this very flowing, moving waltz. Now it seems like I'm kind of getting into a tangent. I'm very excited to review this EP, so let's jump right into the track by track. The first track on this EP is The Shepherd's Walk. Because this EP has such a dynamic and amazing track list, as you'll see later on, this amazing song is probably my least favorite. Though again, obviously, it's a really great track and really serves its function, as you'll see as I describe it. The Shepherd's Walk starts off with this very folky, atmospheric, acoustic guitar passage, and eventually it kind of lets go of this very kind of still, atmospheric, pastoral vibe and just goes full cinematic with booming drums, a blast beat, and screams. This song just feels very feral and obviously serves its great function in the EP to really get the pace going. In addition, the very feral and wild atmospheres of this track really state and introduce the listener to the themes that are all too common on this EP, that are very nature-based. And obviously, if you've read the Bandcamp description, Julian has stated that it's best listened to in a natural environment. Though maybe that's something that I'm missing out on when I'm listening to this track. Though the atmosphere in which I live in, looking out my window, fits absolutely spectacularly and impeccably for the following tracks. The next track on this EP, Squid Marks on Broken Fool Volume 1, which I have gone into a little bit, is one of the most unique songs I've heard in a very long time. One of the things I love about this EP is sometimes with EPs you could get into this very still, kind of quaint kind of atmosphere and grand kind of frame. But with Julian, with this EP, he just made it as grand as possibly you can make 5 songs work. Every song on this EP, particularly this one, just goes through so many phases, and it really reinstates why I listen to music. I listen to music to transcend and try to explore these kind of musical realms, and this track does it absolutely perfectly. Stating the setting, the track starts off very reminiscent of 70s noir films. It's this very mysterious tremolo effect, bass guitar, and organ pairing. The song starts to really pick up the pace by progressing on the very mysterious kind of pacing on the track and just giving it this very booming pulse. What's really interesting about the pulse, though, is that he made it very impressionistic. It feels very much like it's underwater, though it's very much on point, very much in time. There is this echoing and fading of the bass and all those other elements that just give it this very forlorn aquatic vibe. Next up is this grand flight of jazzy guitar soloing that would make Michael Ackerfeld very jealous. Again, it just kind of reinstates this kind of aquatic journey that you're going on, and also the licks are extremely tasteful and just really add to the kind of grooviness of the track. Next up is my favorite track on the entire EP. This is Private Windy Plains. It's just this barrage of really sweet, nostalgic ambiguity in the most strange and mysterious way you can make a really nostalgic track. Also, what I love is that it kind of harkens back in name, for me personally, whenever I hear it, to the Windy Hill Zone in Sonic. In terms of the actual music, though, it just takes on this very minimalist kind of structure in the most saccharine kind of way. Of course, in the most positive connotation of the word. It's just so sweet and so nostalgic sounding, from the chirpy keyboards to these very kind of islandy marimbas, which I absolutely adore. It's just a very positive, happy track, but also with this very ambiguous and mysterious edge, which makes it all the more beautiful and interesting to listen to, as it's two-sided. It goes from this very happy kind of chirpy kind of sound to a kind of variation of the original theme with a more minor mode, of course, and also with instrumentation and change with this very airy kind of choir that takes on the role of the other instruments towards the end of the track, with this very kind of haunting reinstation of what the track is. Next up is A Stroll to Nowhere, yet another personal favorite of mine. This track starts off with these very cartoonish vocal samples, one of which surprisingly is mine, which I didn't know until this was released, and also one of which is my friend Dylan, Cult of Metal. But I really appreciate how Julian was able to tinker with these vocals to give it this very foreign and cartoonish kind of feeling. And of course, the esoteric and cartoonish foreign feel of the vocals is perfectly juxtaposable with the music that's going under it, which is just this very islandy, fun kind of jazz soloing. What I really imagine about this song is just brings so many parallels, though it's not as ambiguous as a track such as Private Windy Plains or Squid Marks. It just brings this kind of parallel universe where these cartoonish beings are just listening to this island jazz, and he goes all out on it. The soloing is absolutely tasteful. The licks are just groovy and beautiful once again. And now we're discussing the final track, which is called Spiders for the Rain. Similar to the first song, The Shepherd's Walk, this song really carries a post-rocky vibe, reminiscent of projects such as Mono. In comparison to The Shepherd's Walk, this track really fixes the little gripes that I had with that first track, and the way that it doesn't just stay in the realm of pastoral, but takes you on a grand journey, maybe the most vast journey that you'll find on the entire EP, going from just beautiful, quaint folk and juxtaposing it with these very Elder Scrolls grand choir-based movements with sporadic black metal drums. This track is just a very sentimental, amicable way to end this grand journey that was the CP. All in all, A Dance for the King was absolutely a fantastic journey to go on. I would give it a 9 out of 10. Julian found this perfect balance for an EP, when usually an EP is very quaint and exists in this small kind of frame because of the track list limitations. He found a way to make it the most grand possible for an EP in 5 songs. It feels like I've gone on a Lord of the Rings level journey. I would highly recommend this EP to anyone of basically all styles, as this is just one grand mixing pot of epic music, quaint music, and encompasses so many different kind of dynamics and emotions. I absolutely love this EP, and I know you will too, so go check out the link down below and be sure to check it out.